What is going on, you guys? Orion Tech Tips here, back at it with another YouTube video. In today's video, we will be covering this $800 PC build. So, if you missed my last video, we did a $500 budget PC build on my YouTube channel. And I said there it's for playing esports titles or AAA titles that are a few years old. So this one, however, is a little bit different. It is an $800 budget PC build, so a little bit more. However, you will be, of course, being able to play esports titles better at higher refresh rates, and you will be able to dabble in AAA titles. Unlike the last one, you actually will be able to play them. However, you're not going to get them maxed out, and you're not going to get them above 60 frames per second at 1080p. However, that PC is coming soon. I will be building a slightly more high-end, like an upgraded version of this PC. So if you want to, watch that, then definitely make sure to subscribe with post notifications on, because I will be posting that in a few days. Posting it very, very soon. So for the processor, we are going with the Ryzen 5 2600 3.4 gigahertz. So this is a 6-core 12-thread CPU. So, gaming, you should really have more than 4 cores for the latest and greatest AAA titles. So this is great for that. And also, if you want to do live streaming or video editing, this CPU will do it. And you definitely can overclock this with to over 4 gigahertz with the included stock cooler. Okay, so and again, we cannot afford to get a CPU cooler, so we're just going to be using the stock cooler. However, our next PC build that is a higher end version of this will have a CPU cooler, so keep an eye out for that. Okay, next up we have the Gigabytes B450M DS3H V2 Micro ATX AM4 motherboard. So this is a more low-end AMD motherboard. Has 4 RAM slots up to 3600 megahertz, and it supports M.2 and Crossfire and SLI. So definitely all the features you will need at this price point. And yeah, that pretty much covers, the motherboard. All the basic features, however, there isn't, like, amazing, like, it doesn't have any amazing features like the more higher-end boards have. And then for RAM, we are using the same RAM kit in motherboard we used in the last PC build. You will know that if you watch the video. And yeah, so 16 gigabytes at 3000 megahertz is perfectly fine for most games, certainly at lower settings. And video editing, yes. However, I have used upwards of 20 gigabytes when editing video. So if you're getting like really, really serious, you might want to buy another kit. However, that's no problem because our board supports has 4 DIMM slots, and supports, again, RAM up to 3600 megahertz, so you can buy faster RAM than this if you want to spend more money, or if you're good at overclocking, you can up the voltage and overclock the RAM. If you know how to do that, and if you don't want to bother, just pay more money for factory overclocked RAM. That someone did for you. And then for storage, we have another upgrade. We have the Team MP33 1TB M.2 NVMe. I made sure you can, if you only want 1 terabyte of SSD storage, and you don't care about if it's NVMe storage with a slower read and write speed, then yeah, feel free to. You will save some money. However, I just went with this, and yeah, 1 terabyte, or you can go with some mechanical storage. However, I recommend you have an SSD on Windows, And then if you want, you can have like a hard drive to like store your games, or you can just have all SSD storage, but unless you're rich, you can't have all of your games downloaded at once. I have that problem, like I'm constantly having to delete games and then reinstall them because I don't have enough storage for all my games. But yeah, I mean, SSD storage is definitely getting cheaper. It used to be when I first built my PC back in, when I was 11 years old, I spent, I believe, $100 in my local store, for a 250 gig, what was it, a Samsung 850 EVO, which is a pretty old SSD, but new at the time. It's not even the most high-end SSD, but I mean, it's nice. But again, $100 for that, and then if I wanted like a terabyte, that's like what, $350 at the time, but now again, $92 a terabyte versus $350 back what it was like a few years ago. And then for our GPU, we are ditching the integrated graphics of the Vega 11 on our old APU. And instead we have an upgraded CPU and an upgraded GPU. So this is the Msi Geforce Gtx 1050 Ti 4GB card. And this is a step up from the GTX 1050. Not only do we get 4GB of GDDR5 video RAM versus 2GB on the 1050. We also get 768 CUDA cores versus 640 on the 1050. So this is definitely an upgrade. It doesn't have any like RT cores. It doesn't have, it only draws power from the PCIe slot on the motherboard, which is a 75 watt TDP. So it's definitely not the most powerful card. However, of course, with crypto, usually for an $800 build, we'd get a better card. I've used this card. I actually have a GTX 1050 in the other room. And, I mean, it can perform. However, just not at the best settings. Like, I know when this first came out back in 2016, 2017, it could push games maxed out at 60 plus frames per second on this tiny card. It only cost $140, which was absolutely crazy. I loved it. I bought it. It was my first graphics card I ever bought with my own money. Sadly, though, titles are getting more demanding, but I mean, yeah, right now it's the cheapest card I'd say you should buy. Sure, you can still buy 2 gig 1050s, GT 1030s, GT 710s, and even below that. However, I really wouldn't recommend it because games really need at least 4GB of VRAM. I was playing some Far Cry 5 earlier before I made this video, and it was using all of my 8 gigs of VRAM. Granted, I was playing that game on max settings. However, games definitely utilize more than 2 gigs, certainly more than 4 gigs. However, if you lower the texture detail, you can get away with a 4 gig card. But it certainly is bare minimum. So if you don't have the budget, yeah, that's fine. Definitely go with the 1050. It is the best bang for your buck right now in July of 2021. But again, if you have more money and you want to play AAA titles at decent settings with a 60 plus frames per second, then I will be doing that build soon. Okay, and then for the case and power side, again, this is personal. I want the Cooler Master Masterbox Q300L Micro ATX Mini Tower Case. So this is a smaller case from Cooler Master. Easy to build in. I mean, it certainly doesn't look like a trash can for $46. Decent, but again, for this budget, we can't spend a lot of money on the case, or you will just be compromising performance. Again, I have a story for that. I'm not sure if I've already told it, but I was building a PC for a friend, and he was certainly building on a budget. And he wanted like RGB RAM, RGB lights, a cool case, and like, well, look, you're going to be sacrificing performance. Originally, I believe I went with a 67 or a 6800 XT from AMD, or it might have been a GTX 10, or sorry, a GTX 2070, I believe. And then 32 gigabytes of RAM with a Ryzen 7 CPU, or it might have been like a Ryzen 5, I'm not really sure, but pretty much he scrapped all of that. And then he went with a GTX 1650 Super instead of the instead of the 1600 XT from AMD. And yeah, it didn't go too well for him. He spent a ton of money on the case and the build and the liquid cooling. I believe he bought a locked Intel CPU. I believe he bought the 90. Ooh, what was it? It was an F series i5. I can't remember the exact model. But it was certainly locked. You can't overclock it. So we bought a liquid cooler, RGB RAM, and a fancy case. However, he had to compromise with that 1650 Super, only 4 gigabytes of VRAM. And his PC does not perform very well. So Austin, if you are watching this, you should have listened to me. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, and then for the case, we want the EVGA BQ 600 watt, 80 plus bronze certified semi-modular power supply. 600 watts should be plenty. But again, if you want something else, feel free to match and swap. Just please make sure it is a reputable brand. Seasonic, EVGA, Thermal Take, and there's others, of course. They are all reputable brands that will not kill your PC. But also, Austin, no hard feelings to you. We're still good friends. But in the future, if you're on a budget, don't care about looks, please prioritize performance above all things, because that is what you will notice while you're gaming. When I'm in a fast-paced CSGO lobby, I'm not looking at my PC, I'm looking at the screen and noticing the frame rate of the game, or any Call of Duty Titanfall. I'm looking at the game performance, I'm not looking at the tower below my desk. Okay, so $824 is the total, or with shipping it is $834.79 will be the total of this PC. So yeah, I guess let me know your thoughts. Is there any budgets that you want to see? I will build a more high-end version of this for AAA, for actually playing AAA titles with a good frame rate at 1080p, and I'll just keep going up in budget. So yeah, anyway, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, drop a comment, helps the algorithm, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.